Hey guys, what's going on? My name is Brian and welcome back to the Dupli-Color Garage. You know, here at Dupli-Color, we're all about providing you with products to restore, restyle, and protect your vehicle in your garage for those automotive-based projects like caliper paint, engine paint, vinyl and fabric, truck bed coating, undercoating, and a whole lot more. Now, we also have a complete line of general purpose products for those non-automotive based projects, primers, and general purpose paints, enamels, and lacquers. For projects like outdoor furniture, exterior lighting, mailboxes, and even toolboxes like this one here. So here at the Dupli-Color Garage, we do a lot of projects and we have tools just scattered all about, and it's hard to believe that we don't even have a toolbox. So we picked up this one locally and it's in need of a whole lot of love. It's been repainted with we don't know what, and it's been refinished over top of everything. So it really needs a lot of help here. Now, this is something that you can do in your garage at home, just fixing up and restoring an old toolbox like this one here. And we're gonna do it using our general purpose enamels. And we're gonna show you exactly how it's done and show you the end result, how easy it is to do. All right, so the toolbox kind of taken apart, it comes off in sections. At the top section sitting here. Now, regarding any paint project, no matter what it is, prep is gonna be the most important because you don't wanna go through the expense and especially the time and have your end result pretty much be unsatisfactory. I'm not even talking about just how smooth the finish is, but also the paint bonding to that surface. You don't need the paint peeling off or looking bad. So we're gonna take our time with this, even though it is an old beat up toolbox. When it's done, you'll see what I mean. So this thing was refinished, as mentioned, with something that we're not too familiar with or really familiar with at all. It's probably some general purpose enamel of some sort. And they painted over top of rust, scratches, and dirt. So this finish currently is not something that we would use a red scuff pad on, scuff it down and shoot it. We want to go through the entire process, strip it down to the bare metal, and then start fresh by cleaning it with our prep products and then priming it with our primers and then top coating with our paint, of course. Now, as far as primers go, we have a few different options as far as colors are concerned. When using a light gray primer or a dark primer, it's all dependent upon what top coat you're going to use. You can use a light gray if you're going with a white, yellow, or say a light green, or you can use a darker primer coating with a dark color. But since I like to see the transition from paint or primer to paint, I think I'm gonna go with the light gray primer followed with the black, because the black is gonna go over top the light gray or the black primer. So first things first, we'll get the sander all fired up and get this red paint stripped off. All right, so it took me a while to get this top down to the bare metal, because once I got past whatever they sprayed it with down to the original coating, which I believe is a powder coating, like a baked powder coating, extremely durable finish. It took a while to get it sanded down. So I had to take a break, clean up, and give this a good wipe down just to see where we stand. And the top I really needed to take down completely because it was filled with rust, scratches, and all sorts of dirt that was in the spray painted finish that was on here. So this will look good, but what I'm gonna do for the rest of it, since this original paint is so durable, is the rest of the finishes is not nearly as marked up as the top. You know, top, of course, is gonna be the most marked up because people probably throw stuff on the top here. Sides aren't that bad, the front isn't that bad. So I'm gonna take the sander, make sure I get that spray painted finish off of here, and then blend the original finish where needed. Scuff the drawers, just because there's a lot of small areas I can't fit the sander in here. We'll scuff the drawers with the red scuff pad. Once it's all good and smooth, blended, then we'll blow it off, wipe it down with the foaming prep spray, and then get it cleaned up for primer and then paint. Once this is done, I'll move on to the rest of it. So I mentioned earlier on that prep is the most important part of any paint project, no matter what you're doing, whether you're painting walls or painting a toolbox like we have here. So after sanding, you leave a lot of dust. Even though I blew it off the air compressor and also used the broom to get into those grooves, there's still gonna be a little bit of residue left in those sanding scratches. So what we're gonna do now is we're gonna take our foaming prep spray and spray it down, give it a good wipe down, and then we'll see what it looks like when we're done and get it all ready for primer. I wanna show you real quick just what I mean with this residue still left in here. So I'm gonna wipe it down. Get some oil on that table. Still a little bit of red left on that rag. So that's the residue still trapped in those sanding scratches. We're gonna get this all good and clean, and then we'll lay down the primer after that. All right, so we are to the point where we have everything sanded, wiped down, and wiped down again, because this thing created a whole lot of dust that was stuck in those little sanding scratches. So we want to make sure that the surface is perfectly clean, because if there's any dust residue, you're going to run into bonding issues. And also you might get that little inconsistency in your coverage as well, just because that dust is really starting to come back through. So we're to the best point of this video is prime time. So we are going to be using our sandable primer. We're going to use the gray. That'll give us a good even surface to lay down our next color. Stay tuned what we're going to choose for the color. But one of the most important parts, again, of any paint project is to be protecting yourself. So we'll be putting a mask on. Always be sure you spray in a well-ventilated area. We're going to turn the fans on here in the garage as well. And now let's lay down some primer. All right, the primer is good and dry. We let it dry for about an hour after 2 to 3 coats, as long as we had good even coverage. I didn't hit, more than about a coat inside there just because it's the inside. So it's wanted to get rid of the red mainly, but the overall toolboxes, 2 to 3 good coats. Like I said, let it dry for an hour. Now we're ready to paint it black. Went with black just because the toolboxes were red. Kind of a blackish theme, I guess, going on, even though we have other red equipment. Maybe we'll spray those as well. But this is what we're to go with, our acrylic enamel. So same deal with this. 2 to 3 good coats, or enough for good even coverage. This is the type of product, being an enamel, you want to get all the coats done within an hour, about 10 minutes or so in between coats, and should come out good. All right, well, this toolbox came out looking fantastic using our Dupli-Color acrylic enamel. We let it dry for about an hour to hour and a half because we did have to touch things to get it put back together. And you know what? The black came out great, and we ended up using our machine gray for the cart just to change things up a bit. Now, this is something that you can do at home in your garage and have pride in your own project. Really, is it really worth it spending all that money for a brand new toolbox when there's plenty of used ones out there for you to get your hands on? Refinish it just like we did here in the garage. Now, if you want to find out more about the products that we use to refinish this toolbox and the assortment of colors that we have in our acrylic enamel line and all the great products from Dupli-Color, visit duplicolor.com.